Welcome to another home yoga practice. This practice is going to focus on the art of alignment for back bends. So we're really going to focus drawing the head of the arm bone back to connect to our upper spine, to draw the shoulder blades on our back for powerful back bends. We're also going to focus on moving the inner thighs back and apart so the low back stays expanded during your back bends. And you want to think not bending per se, but more arcing like a rainbow. To begin, take a comfortable seat and close your eyes. Connect with your breath. Back bends will speed up your breath and increase your heart rate. And in this way, they help us feel alive, invigorated, inspired. So connect with your breath here. So you have a relationship with your breath as we move into these powerful postures. Bring your palms together in front of your sternum. And then open your eyes. We're going to start with some simple body awareness of where the head of our arm bone is and how we move it back. So extend your arm out and you're going to reach and then pull the head of the arm bone back. So it's like the shoulder blade plugs onto your back and then the shoulder blades go down the back to lift the heart up. So there's this lifting, this soaring of the heart towards the sky. Come onto your hands and knees and you're going to push away from the floor and then draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Again, push away and then draw your shoulder blades on your back. Again, push away. This is shoulder blades off your back. And inhale, draw your shoulder blades on your back. One more, just like that, really working to feel the shoulder blades coming off the back and then the shoulder blades coming onto the back like they're sliding on like wings. Keep the shoulder blades on your back, then tuck your toes and lift into downward facing dog. We're going to practice that same action in plank pose because often we push away and we disengage. Come halfway or 1/3 to plank pose, squeeze your shoulder blades on your back and then back to down dog. 2 more times, again halfway or 1/3 to plank pose. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back, your heart moves towards your thumbs and then back to downward facing dog. And last one, this one if you can, come all the way to plank pose. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and then lower down by bending your elbows. Inhale, rise up cobra. Again, squeeze the shoulder blades together so the sternum's lifting up. And then tuck your toes back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward at your hands, and inhale, step or hop. Exhale, bow in, and inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Again, inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward and move through some sun salutations. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, bow in. 2 more. Inhale, lengthen your spine. You can bend your knees. Exhale, bow in. And last one. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow. And then step back with your right foot for a lunge. Keep your back knee lifted, draw your sternum forward, and then place your hands, step to plank pose. Shoulder blades hug onto your back, an integrated heart as you lower down. And inhale, rise cobra, up dog, scoop your sternum towards the sky, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Stay connected in your shoulders. Then step your right foot forward for your lunge, back leg stays straight and strong. And then inhale, step up, exhale, bow in Uttanasana. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, hands come through heart center. 2 more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward, warming the body, connecting your movement with your breath. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow in. And step back with the right foot into a lunge. Fingertips on the earth, shoulder blades still hug onto your back. Place your palms and step back, plank pose. Exhale and lower down. Inhale, rise cobra or up dog. Shoulder blades roll onto your back. Exhale, downward facing dog. With your in-breath, step your right foot forward for your lunge. Exhale, stay. Inhale, step up to Uttanasana and lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow in. With your inhale, rise to standing. Legs stay strong. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Breath and movement. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow in. Step your right foot back for your lunge. Strong, steady legs. Place your palms for plank pose. Keep your strong legs, your strong arms as you lower down. Inhale, rise cobra or up dog. Hug your shoulder blades on your back. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Keep your shoulder blades lifting up so you're always drawing the shoulder blades onto your back. You know what you're going towards here, so really work those alignment principles. And step your right foot forward for your straight leg lunge on the second side. Back leg super strong. And inhale, step up, Uttanasana. Exhale, bow in. And inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reach up again. Exhale, bow forward. This time you're going to step the right foot back for a high lunge. Front knee bends to a crisp, clean square. And then your arms go up overhead. Keep your back, upper, inner thigh lifting. And press your palms forward. Draw your shoulder blades on your back so you can curl the shoulder blades into the heart and lift your sternum up. You can even interlace your thumbs if that helps you keep a little more integrity. And exhale, touch the earth. Inhale, step up, Uttanasana, and change sides. Left foot steps back for your high lunge. Back legs strong, back, upper, inner thighs lifting towards the sky. And then your arms are up overhead. You can interlace your thumbs, but press your hands forward to draw your shoulder blades on your back. So that curling, that back bending is happening from the upper spine, from the integration of your shoulder blades, the head of the arm bones moving back, and the sternum lifting up. Exhale, touch the earth. Step back, downward facing dog. From down dog, come forward to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise to cobra. Really scoop your heart forward, pull your heart forward, and let your head move back. And then back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, bring your right foot forward for a lunge. Keep the left upper inner thigh lifting like we talked about in the art of alignment for our hip openers. So the back leg is strong and you're reaching through the left heel. And then arms up overhead. Again, push like you're pushing on a wall. Plug your shoulder blades in your back so you can lift your sternum up. So the lunge here becomes a back bend in your upper spine. But the pelvis, the lower back, you're keeping the back upper inner thigh lifted and scooping your tailbone down for stability in your low back. Touch the earth and change sides. Back toes tucked under, back, upper inner thigh lifting. arms overhead, and then push your hands forward like you're pushing on a wall so you can really draw your shoulder blades on your back. It's literally like plugging into your own heart, and that allows you to lift your heart to the sky, to lift your heart into the world. Exhale, touch the earth. Down dog. From down dog, press your fingertips into the mat, hug your shoulder blades on your back, and float forward to plank pose. Lower down. Untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down. Tops of the feet are mindful. That'll keep your upper inner thighs moving back. And then lift your sternum towards the sky for cobra. Really hug your elbows in so the shoulder blades are drawn onto your back and lifting your heart with power, with integrity. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward at your hands, and with your inhale, step or hop to Uttanasana. Exhale, bow in. And then bend your knees and bring your elbows to your knees. So you're in this kind of squat slash skiers pose. And here, you really want to draw the shoulder blades on your back and move your upper inner thighs back and apart. So it's really like you're trying to move your sitting bones back and wide apart. And that'll give more space for you to draw your sternum forward and your shoulder blades on your back. Now come up to standing, and we're going to do that same pose in a balance pose. And this is also a great hip opener. You're going to take the left ankle over the right knee, and you're going to bow forward. Your hands, one hand can be on your ankle, one hand on your knee, or elbows to your ankle and your knee, or even hand to the outside edge of your knee and your foot. But squeeze your shoulder blades on your back, move your hips back and apart, and keep your standing leg bent. Inhale, come up. I'll show you from the side this time in case you have any questions. Again, right ankle over the left knee, bend the standing knee, move your hips back and apart. So ideally, your hips, your heart, and your head are all approximately the same level. And then come out of the pose and take a wide-legged stance. In your wide-legged stance, turn your left toes out, bend your left knee to a square, elbow to your knee. Take your right arm up and over, and just notice how that feels. And then take your right arm forward, reach out, and then pull your shoulder blade on your back, and then take your arm by your face. You'll notice when you do that simple adjustment, you're infinitely more connected in your upper spine. You have more freedom in your head, neck, and shoulders. You can take the left hand to the outside edge of the left foot if that's available to you. And then inhale, come all the way up to standing, and turn your right toes out. Bend your right knee to a square, Parsva Konasana, side angle pose, left arm up and over. And then bring the left arm forward, reach out, and then plug your shoulder blade onto your back, and then take your arm by your face. That simple adjustment, no matter how many times I do it, always gives me more freedom. Take the right hand to the outside edge of the right foot, if that's available to you. Keep your back legs steady and strong, that's your anchor. And inhale, rise up to standing. From here, turn the left toes out again. Hips stay square. You're going to bend your left knee to a square and then take your hands to a diagonal. So it's like a warrior two legs in a lunge. Keep your shoulder blade moving on to your back. So the heart's moving towards your thumbs. And then your spine is long. Walk back through the center, bend your right knee, and turn your right toes out for the second side. Again, shoulder blades come onto your back, your sternum's moving towards your thumbs, and your hips are moving back and apart. That's the kind of space we want to see in the spine, even in a back bend. And then walk back to the center. Both feet face straight forward. Bow forward and clasp your hands behind your back. Keep your shoulder blades moving down your back, so not dropping towards the floor, but actually your tips of your shoulder blades moving towards your hips. and keep moving the upper inner thighs back and apart. That'll be very counterintuitive in your back bend, so it's essential to practice in the postures that are easier. Scoop your tailbone, lift your belly, rise to standing, and step or hop your feet together. Come to the top of your mat. At the top of your mat, reach to the sky with your inhale, and with your exhale, bow forward. And then step back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we're going to do a low lunge. Right foot comes forward, left knee down. Again, don't let the left hip drop. You're going to lift the left upper inner thigh up, so your low back stays wide and spacious. And then walk your hands to a diagonal, and you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades in your back like a little push-up. Elbows go out to the side, shoulder blades go on your back as your heart goes down, and then you pull the elbows together to straighten the arms. 3 more. Bend your elbows, heart down, and then hug the elbows together to draw them back together. Last one. Squeeze your shoulder blades on your back. This really awakens the rhomboids. And then you can stay with your palms on the earth or bring your forearms down, or you can also rest your forearms on blocks. Don't let the left upper inner thigh dump to the floor. Keep integrity in your back leg. It is always the leg where you want the sun energy, the power. From here, we're going to move into a twist and a quad stretch. So you can come onto your hands if you're not already there. Keep your left hand down. You're going to reach around your right arm to grab your left foot. You can pull the foot in, or I actually get more of a stretch by kind of kicking the foot away, and then really draw your shoulder blades on your back. So this is still like a back bend here. Quad stretches are great to do before your back bends. It'll help you access your smaller muscle groups in your pelvis. Inhale, come back to the center and your outer hips. Change sides either through downward facing dog or jump switch. And then again, doing those little heart push-ups, bending the elbows out to the side, squeezing your shoulder blades on your back 5 times. 5 repetitive motions, teaching your body to integrate the shoulders on your back, to make that connection in the upper spine so that your heart can be liberated. It's the element of air. You want you to feel like you're soaring, you're free. And then come into the low lunge, forearms on the floor or hands. Staying steady in your legs and especially reaching through the back leg heel. And then come onto your hands, keep your right hand down, reach around with your left hand to grab your right foot for your quad stretch. Again, you can pull the heel in towards your right outer hip or push the right foot away from you. Wherever you go, draw your shoulder blades on your back so you're still in a back bend in the upper spine. Inhale, come back to the center and step back downward facing dog. We're going to do a arm balance or an arm balance preparation, dolphin or Mayurasana, because it's one of the best ways to get into the shoulders. So really move your sternum towards the earth, right? Shoulder blades squeezed together on your back. And then lift your hips, lift your legs so you're in dolphin pose. Keep your gaze at your thumbs. Keep your shoulder blades moving towards your hips, and you can stay here. You can lift one leg and then the other. You can use a block up against your forehead like we've learned, or you can start to kick up into Mayurasana, the forearm balance. You know, the alignment cues are really the same in every posture. And when you go upside down, when there's more weight, when there's more risk, there's more reward, especially when you do the alignment appropriately. So keep drawing the shoulder blades towards your hips, keep looking at your hands, and this will really prep you for back bends. Come down from wherever you are and come onto your belly for Sphinx pose. Hands out in front of you. Hands and elbows shoulder distance apart, and you're pulling your elbows towards your hips, so you're allowing the sternum to move forward. This is a powerful preparation for back bend, and you're really absorbing the wisdom from dolphin or Pincha Mayurasana. And then slide your hands behind your heart. We're going to do cobra pulses. Inhale, reach up with your heart. Exhale, down. We're going to do 4 more quick fire cobras like that. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, down. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Pull your hands back. Pull your heart forward. The best one yet. Shoulder blades down your back to lift your heart. And then exhale. Lower all the way down. Dandasana, bow pose. Bend your knees. Grab the tops of your feet or your ankles. I'm going to grab the ankles. And that's because it's a bigger chest opener and shoulder opener, and then you can kick the feet back. If you're holding the ankles, try to keep your knees down, and you're really looking to just have traction in your upper spine to really draw the shoulder blades on your back and move the head back. Exhale, lower down from whatever variation you're in. You can shimmy your hips side to side. Reconnect with your breath. And then come on to your hands and knees for a twist. To start, you're going to thread your right arm underneath your left. And come onto your left fingertips and really plug your shoulder blade into your back. In that way, when the shoulder blade's plugged onto your back, this becomes a great upper back opener. It's also neutralizing, so if you're feeling very stimulated from the practice thus far, it'll help cool you down. If you're feeling a little tired from the practice, it'll bring you back up. Inhale, come back to the center, and then left arm underneath the right. Keep the right shoulder blade plugged onto your back, right head of the arm bone moving back. Inhale, come back to the center. Place your hands and step into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we're going to move into Parsvakonasana, side angle pose, and then up into Ardha Chandrasana, a balance pose. So bring your right foot forward, turn your left heel down, bring your left hand to your hip. Step halfway up with the left foot, then press into the right foot to lift your left leg up. You can use a block for your right hand, but keep extending through the right leg, and then you can bend the left knee and grab the left foot with the left hand for Ardha Chandra Chapasana. Choose the variation that helps you feel energized, alive, open. Release the foot and come back to Ardha Chandrasana if you're in Chapasana, and then slowly lower back down into your lunge, and then step back downward facing dog and change sides. Parsvakonasana in preparation for Ardha Chandrasana. Step halfway up with the right foot, press into the left foot so the right leg lifts, free, liberated. And you can stay here, or you can bend the right foot, grab the top of the foot with the hand. Wherever you are, these are powerful postures to get into your legs, to ensure your legs are open, so your low back stays open during the back bends and you can really get into your upper spine. Start to dissolve the pose from wherever you are. You're going to lower down mindfully and then step back, downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, bring your right foot forward for pigeon pose. Set yourself up mindfully, back toes tucked under, feet active, hugging your right knee towards your left knee. And then you're going to keep the right hand down, bring the left foot in for a quad stretch. And just like all other postures, you can use a block, you can push the foot away from you or draw the foot in. And then you're going to come up into a high pigeon and take the right arm up overhead. Keep the right shoulder blade plugged into your back, and it's that plugging in that'll allow you to get into mermaid pose, where you hook the left foot on the left elbow and then hold the right hand with the left hand. Slowly release the pose and mindfully transition to the second side. Bring the right foot in for a quad stretch. And you can stay here. You can stay in the low quad stretch if that's plenty for you. Or you can hug your legs together, take your left arm up and over. Plug your left shoulder blade into your back. And it's that connection that allows you to move towards mermaid. Again, hooking the right elbow to the right toes, and then you reach the left hand behind your head to clasp the right fingertips. Keep your tailbone moving down, belly lifting up and in wherever you are so the spine stays long, rooted, and there is no compression in your low back. You're going to slowly release the pose. Step back to downward facing dog. And then come onto your knees. You're going to sit back on your heels and roll your shoulder blades on your back. That's the action we want in the back bends. And then you can take your hands behind you, so it's like the Ustrasana preparation. And then lift your left arm, plug your shoulder blade on your back, and let's do the same thing on the right. Lift the arm up, plug the shoulder blade on your back. We're going to do that mechanism in several different postures because that's what we need to get up into Urdhva Dhanurasana. But first, camel's pose. Move your inner thighs back and apart, and you keep that action even as the pelvis moves forward. And the pelvis moves forward, then the shoulder blades squeeze onto your back and the sternum lifts. And then eventually you take one hand to your heel and then the other. For the first variation, we're just going to stay here, getting comfortable and confident in our camel pose. And then inhale, come up and out of the pose. Exhale, sit back on your heels. Rise up for the second variation. Keep the inner thighs moving back and apart. That's an action that's happening even as the pelvis moves forward. And then place your hands on your heels. Keep your sternum lifting, your shoulder blades lifting your heart up. You can bring your feet down or place your hands on your inner knees. And then reach your right arm up, plug your shoulder blade in, and then you can extend your right arm over your head. Good. Inhale, come up. And second side, hands to heels. And whatever variation is right for you, then left arm up. Plug your shoulder blade onto your back and then take your left arm up over your head. It's like your left arm's reaching towards the floor or the wall back behind you. And then inhale, come up out of the pose. Exhale, sit back, sitting on your heels, really tucking the tailbone down so the low ribs draw back and the belly draws up and in. We're going to do one more Ustrasana sequence and choose the variation that's right for you. If sitting on your heels is right for you, that's great. If having your toes tucked under, touching your heels is right for you, that's great. If untucking the toes is right for you, that's great. If walking the hands to the creases of your knees is right for you, that's great. But wherever you are, you can start to keep plugging the shoulder blades onto your back, and then eventually you can even take your fingertips to the floor behind you. And that has less to do with flexibility, more with staying integrated in movement, skill in action, having that rainbow arc through the spine and the steadiness in your legs to support a big back bend of that nature. Slowly come out of the pose wherever you are, sit back on your heels, pause, and breathe. And then place your hands and make your way to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog with bent knees, widening your low back, and then bring your right foot forward, left knee down for a low lunge. Keep your back leg strong. Take your arms up overhead and then take them around, and imagine your hands like oars. So the hands push forward, the shoulder blades come on your back. And then the left hand goes to your left knee or to your left calf. Plug your right shoulder blade in and reach your arms up overhead. Keep your front knee bent to a square. Keep extending through your left heel and keep reaching up through your heart. Inhale and come out of the pose and change sides. Set your lunge up to the best of your ability. And then reach your arms back behind you and imagine your hands like oars. They're pushing water forwards. The shoulder blades wrap onto your back. And then right hand to your calf or to the crease of your knee. Plug your left shoulder blade in. And it's that connection that allows you to take the left arm back behind you, like the left hand wants to touch the wall behind you. Keep your hips square, front knee bent to a square, and extend through your right heel. Inhale, come out of the pose. Place your hands, step back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, wild thing. You're going to come onto the outer edge of your left foot, left hand, right arm up to the sky. Then take your right foot behind your left. Lift your hips up, plug your right shoulder blade into your back, and then it's that plugging in that allows you to curl and maybe even touch the right hand to the floor. It's the same mechanism we did in Camel's pose and in the lunge camel. Inhale, come back to the center, pause, breathe, settle. Change sides. Outer blade of the right foot, right hand, left arm to the sky. Take your left foot behind your right knee. Plug as you turn up to the sky, really plug the shoulder blade on your back. So you're really hugging in, and then that allows you to turn. And your sternum moves forward, and your top hand can move towards the floor. Inhale, come back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Get into your legs and widen your hips back and apart. And keep your shoulder blades on your back. And then come into puppy pose. So your hips are approximately over your knees. Your forehead is on the earth and you're on your fingertips. And you're really lofting the shoulder blades onto your back, not letting them drop towards the floor. And you keep moving the hips back and apart, inner thighs back and apart. And then make your way onto your back. Take your feet wide and join the inner edge of your knees together. That'll create a natural flow of your inner thighs back and apart and a natural widening curve in your low back. It's one of the main principles of our back bends. It's hard to maintain, but oh so important. And that's how you get to do back bends that don't feel quote unquote like back bends. They just feel liberating. They don't feel like you have that weird crunchy sensation in your spine or any contraction. They just feel like another pose. They just feel free. Now we're going to move into bridge pose first. So work your shoulder blades on your back. Set up your feet and then press into your feet to lift your hips up. And you can work your shoulder blades underneath you and clasp your hands. Let your hips drop a little bit so your inner thighs are still moving down. Then scoop your tailbone towards your knees, lift your belly up and in, and that will be how you lift your hips and lengthen your spine at the same time. Now stay in bridge pose or place your hands and come onto the top of your head for Urdhva Dhanurasana. Plug your shoulder blades in if you're coming into Urdhva Dhanurasana, then extend up from the tips of your shoulder blades. So it's not like you extend your arms straight, but it's from that connection in your upper spine that you come into the bigger back bend. Enjoy whatever pose you're in. And then exhale, lower down. We're going to do 2 more back bends. So if you want to place your blocks at the wall or take a variation that suits you, go ahead and make those changes, make those maneuvers now. Or you can continue to come into bridge pose, or you can go with me as I go into deeper back bends. So place your hands for whatever pose you're moving into. If you're coming into Urdhva Dhanurasana, roll onto the top of your head, plug your shoulder blades onto your back, and then extend up from that integration in the shoulders. Now, if you're in Urdhva Dhanurasana, walk your feet in and pump your heart forward 5 times. So heart moving towards the thumbs, and you're really creating momentum for your shoulder blades to move onto your back and your heart to move out into the world. After your 5, slowly lower down. Feet wide, inner edge and the knees together. And if you're not moving into these types of back bends yet, that's great. And this will serve you as inspiration, motivation, and you'll know where to go as you start opening up. So take your third back bend, whether that's bridge pose, whether that's a posture at the wall, or if you want to go deeper, I'm going into Vipariti Dandasana. So roll onto the top of your head, plug your shoulder blades in, and rise up. If you're in Urdhva Dhanurasana, come back onto your head, and now you're going to take your forearms to the floor and clasp your hands behind your head. You can you can either keep your head on the earth or start to lift your head up and imagine you're looking at your hands. And you can either stretch the legs straight or walk the feet in. But again, pull your shoulder blades on your back, like your shoulder blades are moving towards your hips and your heart's moving through your arms. Exhale, lower down out of whatever back bend you're in. I always like to come right back up into Urdhva Dhanurasana after Vipariti Dandasana. And then lower all the way down. Onto your back. Feet wide again, inner edge of the knees together. Breath full. And then roll to your right side and come up to standing. We've got 1 more back bend to go. This is a preparation for drop backs, so going from standing to a back bend. So you're going to bend your knees, move your hip creases back, move your butt back. And then elbows out to the side like cactus arms, squeeze your shoulder blades on your back. So some people call this big bird or funky chicken. And then you're going to scoop your tailbone, lift your belly, and you start to arch back. Maybe your hands come beside your thighs. Let's try that again. Come up. Bend your knees, move your hips back and apart. You're hugging your heels together this whole time. So hug your heels together, move your hips back and apart, then arms, your shoulder blades squeeze on your back, scoop your tailbone, lift your belly, your sternum lifts towards the sky, and you naturally start to arc back. And then you can eventually just take your hands to the floor. If you take your hands to the floor, keep a drishti, find a fixed point, and that's how you come back up. You come back up with the head last. Rise up, and then bow forward, Uttanasana. Bend your knees. Allow your hips to move back and apart, clearing any tension or contraction there may be in the low back. We're going to do Parsva Tonasana to finish. It's the hamstring stretch, sometimes called pyramid pose, but it is very, very, very effective for clearing any tension or contraction there may be in the low back. So you're going to step your right foot back to start. Hips square, both legs straight, and bowing forward. You can bend the front knee if you need to, or use blocks. But what you really want to focus on, especially after a back bend practice, is moving the thigh bones back, creating space in the low back. And then inhale, step up, Uttanasana. And then change sides, stepping the left foot back about 3 feet. Hips square, heart bowing forward. Shoulder blades continue to stay on your back. Reconnect with your breath. And then inhale, step up, Uttanasana. Exhale, bow. First side, second time, step your right foot back, Parsvottanasana. Keep your thigh bones moving back, your sitting bones moving wide, and then scoop your tailbone down to lift your low belly up and in. Inhale, step up, Uttanasana. Exhale, bow. And then change sides, left foot stepping back. Really coming into your breath as we cool down. Step up, Uttanasana. You can put a small bend in your knees and bow forward. And if you stretch your legs straight, whichever one, bent or straight legs, move the thigh bones back, creating space to move the tailbone down, stabilizing the low back, creating length through your spine. And then place your hands and step to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog with bent knees, pushing the thigh bones back, sitting bones wide, and then you can stretch your legs straight if it feels appropriate for you. And then inhale, come onto your hands and knees. Exhale, sit back, child's pose, hips to heels, head to the floor, arms out in front of you. Still lofting the shoulder blades on your back, still moving the inner thighs back and apart. Still integrating all the beautiful alignment principles that backbends have to show us and share with us. And then moving with your breath, come onto your hands and knees and make your way onto your back. on your back, lift your knees up so they're right above your hips, and it's like your hands and knees play a little tug of war. Your shoulder blades move towards the earth, your inner thighs move towards the earth, and then you rock side to side, and you're really rocking on the outer hip flexors, and it can feel really great for your low back and your hips. And then hold the outer blades of your feet for happy baby pose. Can rock here side to side as well. And then draw your knees back into your chest, and then bring your feet to the floor. We're going to do a little windshield wiper here. So your hands can come to the sides, maybe bending the elbows. Feet are wider apart than your hips, and then you're going to drop both knees over to the right. And then inhale, come up, and exhale both knees to the left. Inhale, come up, and to your right. We're going to do that 2 more times on each side. Inhale, come up, and to the left. Inhale, rise, exhale to the right. Inhale, rise, exhale to the left. And then inhale, come back to neutral. Bring the soles of your feet together. Take your knees wide for Supta Baddha Konasana just for about 3 to 5 breaths. This really tucks the tailbone down, so really lengthening the low back, stabilizing the low back. And after your 3 to 5 breaths, you can stretch your legs out long, come into Shavasana. After this practice, I recommend at least 7 minutes in Shavasana. Set your timer and enjoy this opportunity to assimilate your practice, to assimilate the great energy, the sense of vitality and youthfulness that backbends bring to your body and to your life. Thank you so much for being a part of this practice. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.